Don't look now, but the Florida Gators just added another commit to their 2026 recruiting class. JaReylan McCoy, you are a Florida Gator.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first or second listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever it's the podcast and on YouTube. And hell, sometimes we're available 2 times in a day. Sometimes we're available more than that, but we're always available wherever you listen to podcasts. The Florida Gators added another commit to their 2026 recruiting class. It's JaReylan McCoy, defensive lineman out of Mississippi. And which, by the way, first off, abandoned SIP. Secondly, Florida has kind of made their case of every year they're going to take a couple or 1 or 2 guys from the state of Mississippi. And look, Mississippi's a place where I know that they're not thought of as like a hotbed for recruiting, but they are absolutely a place where there's consistent talent coming out of and pretty damn good talent. Especially when we talk about, I think it's blue chip per capita. They're one of like the best states around. So they produce players, and JaReylan McCoy is just another one of those. Listed at 6'6.5" and 245 pounds on 3. On 3, he is a 4-star. He is the 197th player nationally, 15th defensive lineman in the country, and 8th player in the state of Mississippi. On 24/7, he is a 3-star. He's unranked nationally, 41st defensive lineman in the country, 13th player in the state of Mississippi. Rivals has him as a 4-star, 109th player overall, 10th defensive lineman, 4th player in the state of Mississippi. And ESPN has him as a 5-star defensive lineman, 9th player in the country, 2nd ranked defensive lineman in the country, and the highest ranked player in the state of Mississippi. And like we mentioned a couple times now, JaReylan McCoy is the only 3-4-5 that we've really talked about, right? He's the only player that's a 3-star someplace, a 4-star someplace, and a 5-star someplace. So he's the only guy that we've had on that list. He is someone who's expected to kind of rise a little bit once these rankings get updated, especially with 24/7 coming to their senses about this. But JaReylan McCoy committed to the Florida Gators over mostly it felt like Texas, right? Because if you recall correctly, JaReylan McCoy was supposed to take an official visit to Texas this weekend. And then earlier this week announced, hey, no, not going to do that. And instead of taking an official visit to Texas, going to take my unofficial visit after my official visit to Florida. Florida's been making their way, been gaining progress here. And JaReylan McCoy, one of the, soon to be many, very talented defensive line commits for the Florida Gators in this 2026 recruiting class. He is the 2nd defensive line commit behind JJ Perez, or in terms of time when they committed behind JJ Perez. But JaReylan McCoy is on 3, the 2nd highest ranked player in this 2026 recruiting class. So that means that on 3, the Florida Gators 2 commits today are their best commits of the class right now. And this brings up Florida to 13th nationally on 3, which is of course huge considering where they were. Because don't forget, this is 1 commit Billy. That's what this is. That's what the Rivals said. The Rivals said, yeah, this is 1 commit Billy. That's it. This is G5 Billy. 1 commit. Not so much. Not so much anymore. Florida's now up to 38th nationally on 24/7. Again, climbing significantly from where they were just a month ago with 1 commit. Just 1 commit a month ago, and Florida has now, again, I said this earlier today, but Florida's been just whooping ass on the trail lately. No other way to really put it, I think. But Florida's just been doing their thing. They got up to 13th nationally ranked class on 3. They're up to 38th. They were at 44th before. They're at 38th now with 24/7. And again, I think both of these are going to rise because you're going to see some of the guys that are lower ranked on each site take a bit of a step up there. So Florida recruiting class coming through. We knew that going into the weekend, there'd be 3-ish commits. And I'm gonna peel the curtain back on my thought process a little bit. I don't think they'd be done with 3 commits on a Saturday, right? Like the way that I think about it is that they're gonna want something on Sunday. So this tells me that there's going to be more commits. That's how I think about it. At least we got Byron Lewis in the chat. Big Byron Lewis up here. Let's go Gators. He said earlier, we're not done yet. They're not done. It's very clear there. And I'll tell you what, something tells me that they're still not done this weekend alone. Hopefully have more, but it's going to be, again, a busy June. We've talked about this incessantly at this point, where it's going to be a busy June and busy beginning of July for the Florida Gators on the recruiting trail. And I mentioned a few weeks ago, we had a conversation about, could Florida be at 12 or 13 commits by the time July 5th rolls around? And I was like, I think they're going to be decently higher than that. And I still think they're going to be decently higher than that. You got about 3 weeks to go until then, and Florida is still making significant progress here. They're on fire on the recruiting trail. This is a huge June for the Florida Gators, and it's not even halfway done. It's June 14th, and it's already a huge June. Florida has consistently made progress with kids, consistently done their job recruiting, evaluating, building that relationship. And they're just kicking ass. There's no other way to put it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be more correct about it, but there's just no other way to put it. They're kicking ass. I mean, they got a kid from Alabama today. That's their highest ranked recruit in the class. They got a kid from Mississippi who's their second highest ranked recruit in the class. They're going. And again, a lot of this I'm saying is without all of the in-state movement that they're going to have by the end of signing day. Florida getting hot on the recruit, or not even getting hot. They're going supernova on the recruiting trail. We're going to talk more about that with the chat when we get back with Locked On Gators. The NBA Finals are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have way more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up at FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators added JaReylan McCoy to their 2026 recruiting class, which, again, this is something where earlier this week we said, hey, JaReylan McCoy is on commit watch. I thought it would be a Sunday commitment, but I'm cool with the Saturday one. Or my thought process was it would either be Friday or Sunday, so clearly that was wrong. But he was on commit watch, and he's a Gator. Florida added the defensive. And if you notice, I will also say this. There's been a bit of a trend where guys, a month and a half ago, when Florida had one commit, that there are guys that many people went, oh, Florida doesn't have a chance with those guys, right? I remember telling someone May 8th, I've told the story before, May 8th, I texted someone, hey, I think JaReylan McCoy is going to be a Gator. And they were like, Florida, they're not getting them. That doesn't seem likely. Florida fans I spoke to at the time were like, that doesn't always seem likely. And you speak to people inside. JaReylan McCoy is someone that they felt good about. Publicly, people that weren't expected to go to Florida publicly are committed to Florida. JaReylan McCoy. Carson Baker, before his official visit, had a top 5 out. And Florida wasn't in the top 5. Yesterday, he committed to the Florida Gators over every team in that top 5 after taking an official visit to Florida State last week, who was in his top 5. Florida surpassed everybody. Florida's been making insane progress with players lately. It's not a coincidence. It's not, they're buying players. They're doing a damn good job on the trail. They've been doing a damn good job on the trail. This is one of the best recruiting staffs around, which is one of the reasons when Brian Smith put out his top 12 recruiting head coaches list and Billy Napier wasn't on it. There's one reason I spent 30 minutes eviscerating that damn thing, because Billy deserves to be on there. People can talk about Billy's coaching all they want, and you know what's crazy? Even with all those concerns, even with all those questions, even with all those knocks, even with all those doubts, still had, a number 7 recruiting class last year? You could say what you want about the on-field product, but you can't deny that the Florida Gators coaching staff under Billy Napier knows how to recruit, knows how to evaluate, which is why when we talk about guys where it's like, oh, he's a 3-star here, he's a 3-star here, I don't give a damn what he is. He's a Gator. And if they're being recruited by this coaching staff, or at least being evaluated by this coaching staff, and this coaching staff says, hey, we think they're a pretty good football player, there's a pretty good chance they're a pretty good football player. There is. JaReylan McCoy, a huge addition to this class. Marquez Daniel earlier, a huge addition to this class. Florida is steadily working their way into the top 10 recruiting classes before the season. If they live up to expectations on the field, make the college football playoff, they're going to have the biggest recruiting class, the best recruiting class Billy Napier's ever had. They've got legit potential here to have a fantastic class, a top 5 recruiting class. You make the college football playoff at the University of Florida, you're going to get a lot of recruits. You're going to be able to pick from your bunch, really. You're going to get to be greedy and selfish about it. Florida's putting belt to ass on the trail. They are. We got a bunch of people in the chat. Second of the day, we going for 3. I would love to. I'm going to be honest with you. I would love to there, but we'll see. I like the way that I think about things is that they're going to want to keep momentum rolling, but they're going to want to have it roll through the end of the weekend. And so the way that I think about it is that I think there's going to be a commit tomorrow. I'm not saying who it is. I'm not even saying if I know who it is. I'm just saying I think there's going to be a commit tomorrow, because I would think that they want to have some kind of Sunday momentum as well. They want to end the official visit weekend with a commit, is the way that I look at it. This is me trying to read the tea leaves of why would they have a commit Friday to Saturday and none Sunday? That doesn't make sense. So I would think that there's going to be another commit. That's what I'm trying to piece together from this, is that I think there's going to be another commit this weekend. And again, we know there's going to be people who say, yeah, who tell the staff whatever and don't go public. I think there's going to be another public commit by the end of the weekend. The Nets closing. Too bad Billy didn't get his props as one of the SEC's best recruiting coaches and staffs. Yep. Don't know. Like I've said before, I think Brian's list was way off by not having Billy on there. I think he deserves to be there. Like I mentioned, Big Byron Lewis in here. We got people shouting him out. Yeah, they're going off. What's going on, Brandon? Happy Saturday to all Gators fans. What's up, Sean McCook? DeMarvin Morgan's in here. Great day to be a Florida Gator. Got Gravy Biscuits in here. Tony 2 times in here. Tony 2XX. I don't know what you want to call it. I can't repeat most of what Gravy Biscuits is saying there. I can't repeat most of what he's putting out there. But it's huge. Florida's destroying this right now. And Billy Napier, this coaching staff on the recruiting trail, they're not done. They're not even close to it. Florida is genuinely very much in play for a top 10 recruiting class by the end of June. First week of July. They're in there for it. Like, Florida is just doing everything they can to close this gap that people are talking about with the recruiting trail. Now, Gravy Biscuits, I don't have a problem with what you're saying, Gravy Biscuits. I just can't repeat it on the show. You could say whatever you want. But Florida, they're closing. They're closing. That used to be the thing, right? Was that Florida couldn't close. They're closing now. It's June 14th, and they're 13th nationally on 3. They're closing the distance. Again, there's, I think, 2 services update their recruiting rankings in July. So we could see a significant jump just from that alone. But Florida, not done yet, not even close to done yet this month. I'll tell you that. From what I've been told, not even close to done yet this month for the Florida Gators in the 2026 recruiting class. Ryan Tupper, yeah, you're not wrong. I'm not going to repeat it, but if you're here in the chat, you could see what Ryan Tupper said and know that he's not wrong. But we are going to wrap this up. Thanks so much for making Locked On Gators your first or second listen of the day. As always, we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back next time that there is a commit for the 2026 recruiting class, which who knows when it's going to be, but we will see you all next time.